Hey, my name is Scotty, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sketch this really interesting scene of a person writing at a table. So if you've got a 7 by 5 inch watercolor piece of paper, I'm generally looking at the halfway and halfway, just up a little bit there. I'm going to put a dot and then down near the center line there in the middle of the page. Now what we're going to do with this loose sketching style is just sketch the outline of the head first. See that shape I've done in the red line? We're just going to have a best guess at doing that on the side of that top dot and go to there and then around the bun and completing a big circle that comes back towards this point here. So I'll go down the side and then back up here. Now when you've got that shape, put the hairline in, so we're breaking it into smaller shapes. So around the hairline, down, and then around the ear. Measure on the reference with my fingers, the head height, and compare it. 1, 2. For the shoulders, just half a head across. So it's 1 and then 2. And I'm just doing it roughly. That's where the chair bottom is there. So you can put a little line there too. So do this line very loosely as well. Down there, and it comes down. You can see it starts to go out away from these dots. And then we can go in a bit. Let's just go up past that. Halfway between the bottom of the chair and the chin, put a dot there. So we'll draw a little shoulder here. For that shape, comes around there, you can see the leg goes angling up, the thigh comes angling up there, coming down, and when we get to the elbow, I always like to do some wrinkles and coming across at the bottom. So there's a number of ways of doing this. So I've decided in this one just to compare the body shape, so that's that between the shoulders and the bottom, and just compare it to the knee and where the foot is. So we've got those two head lengths, and we can divide up those shapes around to where the dot is, and then add in a wrinkle. So I'm just going to add that sock at the top. It bows this way and then back up this way. So that's the first leg. So I'm going to get that distance that we had between the dot here and the knee and go this way. So come in like this, just outline the pants down to that dot, and that's why wrinkles are really important, because you can aim little wrinkles towards that knee. Go in there. Now once again, I said the shoe length is about the head length. So from the ankle, you go around the ankle, then you go in the pointy bit of the toes, just backwards and forward, one line, and then just do the outline. So it's almost like a little square shape. A finger here at the front, because that's in front of the pen. I'll go up, and there's just a finger that goes over the face. So put an eyebrow. So it should be at an angle to show that she's tilting her head down. Eyebrow like that. So you just down. Just do a little subtle line. You can see them there. It's like a little curve going up. Okay, so with the chair, we can be a little bit more looser here. And then there's a little bit more timber under here. Cross of timber. And now we can draw the edge of the table. Straight across. So let's draw either side of those dots a line going down. But we outline that. Goes up. Curved bit of timber where you put your back. And then we curve in and back to this point. We can draw the seat and that shape in there. Okay, now all the objects on the table, bag in here. Now I'm just outlining it in one line, pink cup and a little espresso cup. I'm going to roughly get that, say above the pink cup there. Let's connect those up, and I'm coming out a bit more this way to have lots of leaves and flowers. And going up to this side, there's a flower up here. There's a lip like that. The detail there. Do the edge here. Down, 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 and stop. Or the hat. And down, line like that. Okay, we've got the watercolors out. I have my round 10 brush. I usually start with the skin tone first, because that's the trickiest. Burnt sienna, putting it there. Now, so what we're going to do is just put that on the skin tone between the sock and the pants. But now I'm mixing that really thick mix into my water. So we're going to do this, make it very interesting. See how it doesn't go right in the line, so don't worry about that. So the window is a dark brown. So we have burnt umber here. That's too saturated. I'm going to add a bit of Payne's grey. There, nice stroke on there, around the flowers. Let's use turquoise. So I'm going to put that in there. Now the lamp up the top, that would be yellow ochre. We're going to be using sap green, and you can add some extra branches and leaves down like that. See, now that bottom bit there behind the bag, let's add viridian green. Just adding the two colours and they blend together nicely. Payne's grey, and I'm putting in the top here of this warm brown that we had before, but still I would be very careful not to touch the skin here. And let's do this table leg. Oh, I've made it a lot lighter. What we need next is the jacket. So I'm going to use ultramarine, get myself a little bit of Payne's grey and mix it in. So, but still go around everything. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is the sweater. So a bit more of that burnt umber. So see the patterns on the shirt, little dots at the bottom, and it does make a difference in the end, just little bits like that. So I've got darks that on purple, and now the socks. We use more of that saturated permanent rose. Now there are flowers on the bag, so go around and then just leave some gaps where some impressionistic flowers are. There's a cadmium yellow, and around the leaves, the petals. Don't make them all solid colour. And add a couple of pink flowers. I didn't leave many, did I? So if I grab Purple Lake there, almost make a little blobby version of the lantern. And I'm going to add a shadow on the right hand side of the frames. And the person, if you sort of, I said the sun was here, if you go that angle, then you continue the angle down, it'll probably make a person silhouette there. It's a bit more obvious on the floor in the reference. And under the arm. And then the legs, so just draw some lines here that sort of come from the leg table, the chair legs, and across the bottom. And then a lot of the colours we've got here, so the darker navy colour that we had for the jacket, we could add just a little bit more in there, a bit darker points. And the last step is to add highlights. So I've got my Uniball Signo pen. So just in the top left of objects, let's add a highlight. And then tops of the bag, help that separate the cup. And this highlight running around that edge of the hair where it turns, so I've add a highlight there. And that's how I sketch this interesting scene with a person sitting writing. If you want the full version, that's over on my Patreon membership. And I go through a bit more of the theory and background and my thinking behind sketching this person. We have a few of the proportions, and then I show how I've changed those just to adapt to this person that's in an interesting position, sitting down like that with a jacket covering their body. Other than the full tutorial, you get access to my whole library of tutorials and my fundamentals for beginners. There's the reference and templates for each tutorials, and you can also post your sketch on the community, share with other people and me, and ask me any question. Otherwise, there's another tutorial right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.